This is my 1988 Mercedes-Benz 190e 2 litre, and as you can see behind me, it's been sat for quite a few years. Sort of like a barn find. It was left outside, so it's technically not a barn find. But yeah, there she is. I'll get into the time lapse. I also just want to mention that the car has been sat for 4 years. 2022 is its last driven. And we did get it started, so I will put the video up of it starting. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it because it was 2 hours and a half away. It sat in Birmingham for quite a while, hence the paintwork. It is ivory, which is cream, I suppose. But yeah, here she is. I'm going to give her a quick clean. Hopefully I'll get into a good detail at some point. I need to do the interior as well. But yeah, we'll get into cleaning it. Luckily it is starting, but I need to drive it and get it on the road. It has failed on rust. I'll get the rust done at some point, and then it's going to come back up on the road. Quite a rare spec, got aircon, a few things that you don't usually see. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty cool. Yeah, let's get into the video. So I'm back out with the 190. It's now another day, so I turn it around so that I can get the back, the Porsche back, and hopefully you can get it all properly cleaned up, because it's got to get an MOT and it's got to go to welding because the sides are really crusty. But yeah, so fingers crossed we can get it on the road soon, but it's not going to be very soon. So yeah, I'm going to clean the boot today. After doing the side, which isn't perfectly polished yet. This side has been polished with Mer and Mercedes 90s polish, something like that, you know, the blue can stuff. But yeah, so we need to get this on the road as soon as possible, really, because I really want to enjoy it. I'm only 16 in the car, I can't really drive it, and I know insurance could be quite expensive, but I want to drive it at some point. I want to take it down to car events, even though it's not perfect. It will never be perfect, unfortunately. But my plan is for this to be my daily, and then buy a Cosworth in the future sometime. But, so she definitely needs to go for welding, and hopefully we can get on the road sometime soon. I need to replace that window as well. I've got a new replacement window because I locked the keys in the car. So that was stupid. But yeah, I've got a new window, and the window regulators are broken, or the switch, something's broken. So the back two windows don't work, the front driver and passenger and sunroof work, and even my wing mirror works, but my barrack windows don't. And that window needs to come down so I can take the metal bar out and then put the new window in. But yeah, so hopefully that will happen sometime soon, but that's going to be 3 hours in the hot sun on one of the hottest days of the year in the UK. Just take that window out, cutting the rubber. So yeah, And I also took the badge out for 5 hours. Took 5 hours yesterday to bonnet style out that someone cut off, so cheers. And it turns out the one that I ordered actually doesn't fit because it's not for that model, so I had to order another Mercedes badge, which hopefully does fit. So yeah, I suppose let's get to cleaning. I'm also going to clean that wheel, which got loads of brake dust on it, so that'll look really cool, using the pressure washer, which I guess, yeah. We'll get into the video again now that it's turned around and we do the back. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the time lapse. I'll pop up some photos before and after. It has been in 2 different locations, so it may look a bit different, but hopefully we can get it there again when it's on the road. But it needs parking brake done, handbrake, because I should try and push it when it was on flat ground, and I thought, oh, well, what's it fair on that for? And then I parked up here on the slope and it doesn't work whatsoever. So yeah, yeah, we'll get into cleaning that now. I'll do another video, a video for that wheel. I'll also pop it in. It might be in portrait because I think it looked good for social media, but we don't know yet, so I'll see. Might film it far away and then you know, likewise. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the time lapse, and we'll start right now. It's now about a month later, I think, if I'm right in saying. I can't remember when the last video was filmed, or the last clip that you guys see, but this car isn't as brilliant as I think we're hoping it to be. Now, I took this car for an MOT, and as you can see, it looks a lot more different than it did when you last saw it in the last clip, but it did fail, which we were expecting it to fail anyway. But it's failed quite badly. Now luckily the rust isn't too bad, theoretically. I mean, it's been up on a ramp, they've had a look at it, and they quoted me about 666 quid, I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. But this went in yesterday. Conked out twice on the way to the MOT due to the fact that there is no fuel in it. I did top it up with fuel, that was my bad, I totally forgot. And luckily we did make it there. But I have got fuel in it now, so it should be alright. And it won't conk out, and it didn't conk out with the 2 miles it was taken back home after it had been driven there in the morning. Now, 2 separate people have looked at this. The MOT failed, 16 advisories, 8 majors. Now luckily it didn't fail on dangerous, because I really did want to not transport this back home. Well, the guy that helps me transport cars, I've asked a lot from him, and he's kept this car for like 2 months or a month or whatever it was, and been really, really helpful and brilliant with me, so I can't fault him enough. And yeah, so cheers Lee if you're watching this. But yeah, so it's going to need a bit of work. Rust isn't too bad. That would be with me stripping the car to make it as cheap as possible. So obviously this car's not going to be, it's never going to be a brilliant car. It's been in the front end smack, which is why the panels are 2 different colours, but then again, who knows that a 16-year-old owns a 190e. And obviously I paid for this all by myself. It was abandoned for about 8 years. I mean, I think it came off the road in about 2020. But went back for an MOT in 2022. But the main issue isn't actually the rust, although that's going to cost me 660 quid, which I don't think is too bad, to be honest with you. It's going to need a bit of engine work, which originally I didn't know, which, you know, what can you expect? You can't expect a car to sit for that long. Now luckily they did say that it's not burning. You know, the fuel is burning okay, which means the K-Jetronic system is okay. Now the thing that I'm slightly worried about is not head gasket. I'm really hoping, ideally it's a head gasket, but under load and under acceleration it does blow out a lot of white grey smoke. Now I'm not bellowing out as if it was like a turbo gone, because obviously this doesn't have a turbo, but it is significantly worse. You know, it's not great. Luckily, I mean, this AMG which is next to me, which I really should make a video on, because they only made 100 of these, which is the C32 station wagon, or estate if you want to call it, has got a leak in the bottom of the engine on the sump, which goes down to the exhaust, so it's not leaking through the exhaust, it's leaking just around it, basically the oil's dropping onto it, which is a very small leak. And when I say they do make 100, they made it 1,500, but only 100 for the UK market, which was quite cool. This one's got a really cool history actually. It was owned by the first owner of it was the owner of Henry Hoover's and Pneumatic Engineering, so it's got quite a bit of story behind it. Limiter's taken off 180, 190 mile an hour ish. I think Mercedes claimed 175, but they always lie. They always underpower their cars, and that's quite a special car, but we'll get around to that. That is another barn find, sort of barn find project that's not been moved for 4 years, so pretty much just as much as that one. But luckily the K-Jetronic system apparently is okay. Now obviously in the month that I've not made another video on, as you can see it's not clean. Most of the cars have polish on it, and myrrh, an old version of myrrh, which is quite cool. I spent quite a bit of time polishing it, as you can see. Not perfect, better than it was, looks a lot better than it was. Hope you guys can see that, but yeah. Now since the last video has been filmed, I've actually been to Goodwood, which has been a bit of fun as well. And I put some stickers on this. I'm not like one of those teenagers who like stickers everywhere and modding it. I mean, it is lowered. I didn't lower it. I was going to lower 190 if I was going to have it, but I think it looks nice as that. I mean, people don't like it being lowered. I like it being lowered. I think it looks cool. I like the way it sits down low. The only thing is the wheels. I mean, it does like to scrape a bit, especially if you're going for a field, but how often am I going to go for a field? Also, it's not going to be having millions of miles on it again. I mean, ideally I'd like to take it around a different country, but I don't think it's going to go miles, especially when it's on the road. But unfortunately I have now run out of my own money to spend on the car, which means that I haven't really got much to put into it. I mean, this car owes me about 800 quid, something like that. I would say I could sell it for about 1,000 if the engine problem was fixed, or maybe 1,500 quid if the engine problem was fixed, because this is quite a high spec car. Which is why it's still here, not in a scrapyard, because if it was a lower spec, I can tell you now it would not be here. Now, like I said, unfortunately the engine has been a bit of an issue. Now, the place I've taken it to, they said it's piston rings. Now, that wouldn't be brilliant, because it's quite a major job. I'm kind of hoping it's head gasket, because they always go on 190s, or most cars that sit, to be honest with you. I mean, when you consider that this car is a bulletproof engine, I think it's the M102, if I'm right in saying. W201, that's what was that one? W203. So this was the first, technically, generation of C-Class, because the 190. And obviously they put the numbers then, and then they put the E for fuel injection, whereas this, they put the C before the 32, which I can't remember what it symbolises off the top of my head. But yeah, so fingers crossed this car isn't going to cost me so much money. I'd like to get it on the road soon so I can enjoy it. I mean, just the 4 miles I was driving there and back to the MOT was brilliant. I enjoyed every minute of it. Apart from the 2 times it broke down, that was the fuel, that was my fault, not the car's. I can't fault the car on that. And as you can see, it's nice and clean. I will put some B-roll sort of footage around it. Now unfortunately I have broken my main camera at Goodwood, so that's not brilliant, so I'm using the same camera you guys have been watching, but it's sort of taken the business side of me out, because obviously I run a photography business, and I can't run a photography business with no camera, so it's been quite an expensive month, put it that way. But yeah, so we can get the rust done. Now, if the engine problem wasn't an issue, the rust, I'd be perfectly happy to get that all done now on the road for, what was that, £1,000, because tax, 400 quid, which isn't brilliant, but then again, 2 years it'd be tax exempt and MOT exempt, because it's 1988, which is 37 years old and 11 months, I think now. It was 8th of August 1988, I think, but yeah, so it's got quite a few majors, minories, you know, stuff like that. Most of it's just springs, so I've got 3 of my wheel bearings that are apparently not great. All suspension components are corroded, which is not suspension components, springs, that's what I'm on about. Which isn't brilliant, but what can I expect? I could put original suspension back on it, but I don't want it to sit like an SUV or, you know, millions of miles up in the sky. I mean, I like the way it sits, I like the way it looks. I mean, it's a good looking car in my personal opinion. I've always wanted a 190, and the true story was that there was one a mile down the road from here that's in a hedge now that you can't see at all. Now I offered to buy it, it only had about 80,000 miles on it, which, you know, isn't a lot at all. I mean, these engines are capable of 1,000,000 miles, which is what is so iconic about it. But you know, you see all the ones with Africa without the doors and all that stuff, which is true. They are. The engines are bulletproof. The body will fall apart around the engine before the engine goes. But the only issue is that obviously when the cars don't get driven, they don't like coming back to life, sort of thing. So I'm really hoping it's a head gasket. It could be valve stem seals, but I really hope it's not piston rings. Now, a Mercedes-Benz specialist, two of them have said that it's probably not piston rings. But on the first phone call that I had yesterday, they told me straight away that the engine's gone, which do I believe? Not really, especially on an engine like this. I really hope it's not piston rings, but then again, you can't expect the car to sit for 8 years and fire up perfectly fine every time, you know. It's done 151,000 miles and 4 extra more. But yeah, I do love this car. I don't want to scrap it. Everyone's told me to scrap it, sell it for parts, sit it right there, leave it months, take the parts off. I don't want to do that, to be honest with you. I also don't really have the knowledge mechanically to do everything. I've done most of the stuff myself. I think I am capable of doing a lot of the stuff, but it's that issue is if I do break it, I'm not going to know how to fix it again. And I would like, you know, they are very complicated cars. I know they haven't got as much electronic as that W203, but then again, the K-Jetronic system on this is very complicated. They are very well engineered, but very complicated, and that's the sort of thing that I'm slightly worried about with this car, is the amount of issues it's got. Now you can have a look if you want and do the red check. I don't really care, but it's not, you know, it's not great. So there is that shame, but you know, hopefully we can get it resolved. And hopefully it's just a head gasket, which is what I'm really hoping, and not piston rings, because that's not brilliant. And I know I could get another engine for 400 quid, but then again that knocks the whole value out of the car. I spent 200 quid on the car itself, which isn't bad going, 350 quid to get it back from where it came from, and I spent probably about 800 quid on it now, which, you know what, isn't too bad. I've got a car that's running. But to pass the emissions, like I said, it's going to need a bit of work. The advisories, which I will read out now, as we can see, I don't know if you can see that. Right, this is what I'm going to go through. So here, headlamp aim too low. Headlamp aim too low. We can fix that. Not too bad of an issue whatsoever. All direction indicators don't work. Now, ironically, they were working when I set off, but they do work now. They're very hit and miss. I've changed the relay, I've changed the switch, thanks to a really nice guy that I know called Rob Legend. He's going to actually come and have a look at this for me. But yeah, the 2 miles did that car good. It actually let it, you know, clear some stuff out, as well as the fact that when you go to start it, I need to check the distributor cap, because when you go to crank it, it just keeps cranking and it goes and when you try and you can put your foot on the accelerator, you'll be lucky to get it first time. It will always start up second time. It will then conk out. You need to rest your foot and idle it at 2000 until you can sort of like, you know, you've really got to be careful with it, which is slightly annoying. You know, it's a bit of an issue. I need to get that sorted. Now I have heard about the cold start issues on these cars, which isn't great, but fingers crossed it's just a faulty distributor cap or something like that I haven't had a look at yet. But it is burning a lot of oil because the spark plugs are black. But yes, as you can see here, the indicators do work now, so we haven't really got an issue with that, and also I can get the part to fix that. It's the exhaust emits excessive dense blue smoke during acceleration. Now obviously that one is the issue with the sort of oil leak that we have going on. Now obviously I do really want to get that sorted, but it's going to be, at the end of this, it's going to cost me more than the car's worth. This car's always been really a scrap car. It's always been posted on Marketplace at like 200 quid. You know, sell the car. It'd be a shame to go for scrap. And that was in 2016. It's 2026. Another 10 years after that. I know the car's worth a lot less then, but it's an accident damaged car. Yes, it's a rare spec, but it's not really worth it to anyone else. And I've gone past the stage where it's now more sentimental to me than it is to scrap it. And you know, it's my first car. I don't really ever want to get rid of it, because I know they're going to start going up in price. This one's not. This is going to be like my daily. I really want to use this a lot. I don't care about it. You know, if I take it to an event, oh, paint match colours, they're not the same, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. They don't know that a 16-year-old owns it and, you know, drives it and enjoys it. Most 16-year-olds are going to buy a Fiat 500, Ford Fiesta, something cheap, reliable. I mean, that's what people don't care about cars, but even people that do. I'm not slating that or anything like that, but it's not really my style, unfortunately, for some of you out there. But yeah, so it's sort of my style. I do like the older stuff. It's going to be more expensive to run. I don't really care. I'm not going to have like eyelashes sticking out the headlights or something like that, like most people do. I'm not going to have dice on top of the thing. I like it original. As much as I can keep this original is what I want to do, which is also why I don't want to do an engine swap, because I know a lot of people do the E-Class swap from the engine and diesel swaps, but not really my style. I want to keep it as original as possible, and I know I'm saying that with totally different colour panels, but then again, I don't care. I like the car, that's all that really matters. But I really don't want to scrap it, because I know in the future I'll really regret it, and yeah, but this will be the daily, and I'll buy another 190 later in the future and just start collecting Mercs. As much as I do like Ferraris, they are cool cars. I would like to own one Ferrari in my life, because there is a sort of enjoyment of sort of like that sporty feel than just sort of collecting Mercs. But I think I will be definitely a Merc collector, as I do love collecting Mercs. But we've also got just here, if you look just about there, near side subframe, offside subframe, outer shell anchoring. Now, I'll be quite ironic, I don't actually know what that is, I've got to have a look at that. And the brake pipe corroded, so that stuff, you know, hopefully is going to be pretty cheap. Now, ironically, which I'll put in the B-roll clip, I'll put it in the clip here, you can just see about down here. Now, that area has got a huge gaping hole in it, but apparently that is not a fail. Now on this MOT in 2022, it failed on that. Obviously they have been a bit more stricter, but that won't fail on it. But then again, part of that 660 quid can get that done, which is good, which means all the rust underneath should be okay. Now, the person that is going to do the rust, well, I don't know if he's going to do the rust yet, because I've also got to decide its engine. And fingers crossed that engine will go again, but I'm going to need some help from you guys and some support with this car, because I can't afford to do it all myself, and I don't really want to ask people for money. Really, I don't really want to do that. I want to be able to say that I've done this myself, and that's going to be quite hard to do when there's a car that needs a lot of work. But like I said, that rust doesn't need to be done, but get it all done, you know, it could cost me more in the long run. And although it is a big gaping hole, and ironically the back two don't look bad at all unless you're underneath it, I'm no mechanic, but that looks horrid, and I would say that would fail an MOT, but they said it wouldn't, so that's alright. But yeah, so there's a few bits we need to sort out, indicators, I think it's just a bad ground, dodgy wiring and stuff like that. But you know, it's never going to be a perfect car. I don't intend for it to be a perfect car. For me, it's going to be a daily, and I want this engine to last millions of miles like they always do, apart from this, obviously, at the minute. But yeah, so I will also go through some of the advisories. It's got 16 of those. Basic stuff like coil springs, I need to get new ones, they are corroded. I could just get some stuff to take the corrosion off, really. That's going to take a little while. That's on all four. Free wheel bearings, slight play in the joints, on the inner steering joints. Front headlamps, slightly defective. Now, that could be to do with the crack, or as you can see, this headlamp here is rusty. Now, I have got a new lens for it if I wanted to put a new lens on. They are glass lenses, but if that's corroded, I can get a new one of those. But apparently it's failed on both sides, so I'm not sure what that is. Obviously, for some reason it's too low, we can get that adjusted. That shouldn't be too much, and I was expecting it to be like that, because it was my fault. I would try changing one of the bulbs in there yesterday, not yesterday, the day before yesterday, so Wednesday, and it was all wobbling, so my fault. But you know, it is what it is. We've also got stuff like brake fluctuating but not excessively. We've got brake, that's on both sides. That's service brake. I don't really know what that is, to be honest with you. Subframe mounting prescribed area is excessively corroded, but not excessively. Rear subframe corroded, but it's not seriously weakened. Both outer seals are corroding. That'll be, I guess, front. Both outer seals. So that is, I guess, the seals. But if that's going to get ripped down, that'll be off. Oil leak, but not excessive. Now, I don't know if that's because there is oil all over the engine, because the cap was cracked. Now, the cap was cracked before, and obviously someone started driving it with the cracked cap, and it's gone everywhere. Gone down the engine, and the whole engine's full of oil. Now I've put a new cap in, thanks to Rob, gave me that part for free. Legend, thank you. But yeah, so I don't know if they've looked for that or they just see the oil all over the engine. But yeah, so that is the issue with this car. As you can see, I'll put some clips up of it, hopefully in the evening, looking nice and shiny. If not, I'll do it now. Obviously, I love this car. please follow the other socials as well. If you're watching this, you've probably seen it from Instagram. You know, I can't expect it to be perfect, and I'd love to drive this car on the road again. Those 4 miles was probably the best 4 miles I've ever done in a car, and I've been out in multiple supercars, but when it's a car that's your own, you know, they always say your first car is your best car, and obviously these are designed to be bulletproof. So this is the end for this series of washing the car, but hopefully we can get the rust sorted, the engine sorted, and depending on how well this video does, we will make loads of more videos. I'm going to do another video eventually, but obviously I've got to wait until I can afford to do it all myself, because that is my idea. But yeah, if any of you got any advice regarding the engine, like I said, you can do a reg check if you want. I'm not too bothered. It's going to go on a private plate eventually, so yeah. But yeah, so this is my 190E. I've been Archie. Thank you very much for watching the video for this long. I know it's going to be quite a long video, as obviously it started a lot worse than it did before, and obviously you guys have seen all the time lapse. I will do some quick B-roll shots of the car so that you can see what it did look like, and yeah, thank you very much for watching the video, and fingers crossed this engine will be okay and we can get it all sorted for not too much money. And yeah, please like, subscribe, and do whatever the rest is. I don't know how it works, to be honest with you, but thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.